Let's do it.
Being on a budget, it's not a bad thing. You know, it can lead to better planning financially, but it may mean paying attention not just to how much money you're spending, but to how much your partner spends.
Yeah, a Ramsey Solutions survey showing money is one of the top things that couples fight about, and it's the second leading cause of divorce.
Let's bring in our friend Tamsen Fadal, our anchor at our New York City Next Star station. Thank you so much, Tamsen, for being with us. Okay,
Good morning.
So my big question is this. If you're transparent with your spouse or your partner financially, wouldn't that lead to more trust in every area of your life?
Yeah, I believe it does. The problem is I know so many people nowadays, even who have been married a long time, that are still hiding Amazon packages. So, I think that, you've got to figure out that trust factor somewhere.
Why?
I hate that.
It's so pedestrian. It's so juvenile. It's like, why would you hide the packages? You know they're going to eventually find out when they get the credit card. Are you hiding the credit card bill?
I don't know. I think that what has always worked is you have a joint account that comes together, right? And then you've got your own separate accounts. So you still maintain your independence. Because in my thought, people come together very independent nowadays, right? We've grown up, we've just grown up earlier, faster. We understand, or we had money or a job sometimes a little bit earlier in life. And I think that you've already got that independence established. People get married later. So why not have a joint account and then your own separate one?
Yeah. The hiding the Adrienne and I were just talking about this during break. The hiding the packages from your husband joke, I think needs to stop. I think it's so antiquated. Like, we have no control over how much money we spend, what we do with the credit card. But at what point,
it's lying too. You're teaching your kids to just lie.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
No judgment. I'm just.
At what point should you tell your partner how much you spend? Are there certain circumstances where you say, okay, you should come clean about some stuff?
You know what? I feel like when you get into that range of like, if you're talking about a joint account, I feel like if you're getting the range of $400, $400, you're starting to get up there. If you're going to, because you don't want to go into the account as the other person and see this big thing scooped out of it that you thought was already there. And then it depends on how often you're doing that. Are you taking $300, $400 out twice a month? Are you doing it every week? So I think when you start getting into that range, it's serious. If somebody notified me every time, my husband notified me every time he spent $50, it would just make me berserk. So I think that you have to be in that kind of range of maybe $300.
$300 doesn't seem like a lot these days, though.
I know. But if you're in a joint account and then you see that, and if it goes like every week or something, or every 2 weeks,
right,
it starts to add up, right?
Well, there's usually like a spender and a saver in a relationship, right?
Yes.
And then one person makes more money than the other. So how do you create financial prerequisites or financial boundaries that apply to both of you?
I mean, you've got to have that. And that's where I think the joint account comes together. I think it's so much easier. It establishes what you said early on, trust, because that trust has got to be there. So if both people are contributing, whatever area they are, especially if one person is making more and they're contributing more. But if you know you've got that joint account to pull from, and those are for the essentials, not for, the new shoes that you just saw, but those are for the essentials. And I feel like there's more of a trust factor there. And then you can have those conversations. Somebody said one time to me, have a budget date night where you sit down with your partner and you kind of just go over things so you're in it together. Yeah. So it's not you're over here doing your thing and I'm over here doing my thing.
I like that.
But you're actually having a conversation, because then if there's debt, you can try to tackle that together too.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't cause so many problems. Because financial
romantic. A budget date night.
Have pizza. We agree to the
some
cheapest
chocolates, Tamsen. Hey, one more question for you while we still got you. Most couples are bound to hit patches of turbulence in the relationship when it comes to spending. So when we hit that kind of rocky point, what's your biggest tip for when things do financially get rocky between a couple?
I mean, I had that in one of the relationships I was in. I was a saver, he was a spender, and it was really, really difficult. And it all came down to what you said at the beginning, was trust and honesty and being able to have an open conversation. And, and that's the only way to do it, because when you get too far down the road and you can't catch up, that's when the big problems happen. And that's why we see the divorce rates where they are today.
Yeah, I would hope that more and more people feel free to be honest and open, but things are complicated, and marriage is the hardest thing, the closest thing to heaven and hell, say some of my friends. Tamsen Fadal, thank you so much for being with us. Always good to see you.
Don't hide the packages.
Don't hide the packages.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Don't live like that.
I actually
it's so much pressure.
told a store the other day in Dallas. They had a sign outside. It said, ladies, you can have permission. Your husband's giving your permission to buy whatever you want. You don't have to hide the packages. And I walked in and I told him, I was like, this needs to be done.
Get over it. Thank you for watching. Go to News. newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.